North London derby, Tottenham versus Arsenal. We're joined by Arsenal fan Cecil G. Thomas. Cecil, nice to see you, mate.
Lovely, thank you for having me.
And we've also got Spurs fan Jamie Brown here. Jamie,
Yep.
how you doing? All right?
Nice to see you. Yeah, all good, all good.
I'm just trying to pick up on the sort of feel here up here, like the nerves. How are you both feeling? Cecil, I'll start with you.
I was a lot more confident until I heard that Martin Odegaard went down and is obviously injured. But before that, I was feeling like, regardless of what Spurs put out, I thought I was quite confident. But now with that added into the mix, I'm a little less confident. I still believe my team. I still think we'll get the win, but I'm not as confident as I want it to be coming into this today.
I can sense some cracks in his confidence. Jamie, what about you? How are you feeling, mate?
Unfortunately, I've also got a slight lack of confidence as well. Obviously, it's been a tricky start to the season for Spurs. We obviously saw that defeat away at Newcastle, which was difficult. Obviously, a draw at Leicester as well. And Spurs obviously have their injury concerns of their own. Obviously, Solanke and Van der Ven, obviously slight doubts over there. And they're two big players for us because we saw against Newcastle, we kind of lacked that firepower up front. We lacked Van der Ven's pace in defence as well. So two big players potentially missing for us. So fingers crossed that we see them in training at some point this week.
Well, you've already touched on it, Cecil, that Rice suspended. I won't ask you your thoughts on that, but I could probably guess. Odegaard picking up an injury in international duty as well. Massive hole in the midfield, isn't it?
Yeah, massive. And also Mika Moreno as well, our new signing we're yet to see, also not available as well, which is frustrating. I think the midfield is where most people would say you win or lose a game. We're light in that area now due to injuries and suspensions, like you mentioned. But like Jamie said, they've got some injuries. So they say. You know how this thing goes. They say they're injured. It turns up on the day that everyone's fit. But if Mickey van der Ven and Solanke are out, for me that builds my confidence a little bit more because we all know Ange loves to play a high line. I think without Mickey van der Ven, with the pace of him getting back and tracking back, that opens up a lot of opportunities for Arsenal to hopefully go on and win that game. And we know I know that Spurs like to dominate the ball. They're very good at it. Probably the best so far this season at keep retaining the ball, but they're not clinical in front of goal. I think they can keep the ball, but if we catch them on the counter with some of our new additions, I mean, we've got Sterling. We're going to talk about him in a bit, I'm sure. If we can catch them on the break, I actually think we can get a win.
You always said, James, Solanke's a big loss for you guys, and you missed him massively at St James's Park. Interesting look at the comparison. We think he's injured, but like Cecil says, you never know. Could he be fit in time for the game? They certainly need him. But you're looking at Solanke, you're looking at Kai Havertz. Two players bought for, I think, more or less the same price, weren't they? I mean, if Solanke plays, who's going to have a bigger influence on the game, Jamie, do you think?
I've got to back Solanke. Obviously, it's going to be his first game at the new stadium. I think that's going to be a big incentive for him to kind of really turn up. Obviously, he had that first game against Leicester. He made his debut. He looked a bit of a handful, but obviously didn't get that goal. But I think in the North London derby, no better place to announce yourself than in a game like that. So I really would back him, and potentially, obviously, with Kai Havertz, I don't know what Cecil thinks, obviously, might be having to drop into a midfield role as well. So, yeah, for me, I think that I'd definitely back Solanke here. And, really looks excited to see him at this new stadium. Yeah,
a lot of people sort of question the Havertz signing for Arsenal, but I mean, were you convinced of the signing? He seems to be getting better and better.
I think he's starting to really find his feet at Arsenal. Very confident. I mean, you saw the back end of the season, he contributed a lot to Arsenal's, title charge, shall we say, and then this season he started well as well. I think he's going to be important for Arsenal definitely this season. I think in this game, Jamie mentioned it, I think we might need to put him into the midfield just for the aerial, the height when it comes into the balls being taken from the goal kick, winning those first balls. I think Havertz going to be probably playing in the midfield, and hopefully Gabriel Jesus will be back. So for me, he might be the number 9 for this game. But Solanke, speaking about him, he had a few chances in a few of those games that he's played for Tottenham and didn't convert them. So he's got a lot of pressure, I'd say, on this game to kind of announce himself in a Spurs shirt. I think Havertz has kind of won over a lot of the fans so far, so I think he's a bit more further ahead in his progression here at Arsenal. So less pressure for Havertz into this game.
The two games last season were tight, weren't they? And we had goals, and I think one was 2-2, one was 3-2. If it's going to be another tight affair this weekend, who's going to be the match winner? Who's the person you are pinning Spurs' hopes on this weekend?
I think someone who I've been really impressed with this season is Dejan Kulusevski. He's just had a really strong international break with Sweden. I think he got a couple of assists whilst international action. Hopefully he plays in a more central role. Obviously, Maddison on the screen, he's someone that I would maybe like to see swapped out potentially for Kulusevski. I think that's where he plays his best. Obviously played a lot of football on the right-hand side, but I think he's most effective in the centre, and if he is, I think he will have a big impact on the game.
So Kulusevski in a central role. Who do you reckon, Cecil? Who's going to be the key man for you?
I'm laughing because I want to say Romero because there's so many own goals in this fixture. Every time there's always an own goal, so hopefully he gets an own goal. But no, I'm going to go with Bukayo Saka. Also, this fixture always throws up penalties. I think it's the highest amount of penalties in this fixture in Premier League history. So it's probably going to be a penalty. Hopefully Saka will take it. Saka scored, I know it was from the corner, it was off an own goal, but he got his revenge last time when we played them at their place. So Bukayo Saka is our star boy. He's on the graphic behind us here. I think he's a man that always steps up to big occasions. So Bukayo Saka, it's going to be a big one. I think Ange as well, by the way. He hasn't ever defeated Arteta, so I'm sure he's going to be wanting to get this win. But I think, you know, we got some big players that are experienced in this game, this fixture, and I think Mikel Arteta does have the better of Ange and his tactics. But Bukayo Saka for me the standout for the game.
Okay, so you're going Saka, you're going Kulusevski. Arsenal do have the better record against Tottenham in the derby. You're nodding, you know that already. But is it a case of history repeating itself? I mean, Spurs were so close last season. Can they go that one better?
Obviously we did get that draw, that 2-2 draw. I think we played really well at the Emirates. I think we had chances to win the game as well. But as we mentioned, obviously so many key injuries for Arsenal. I want to see Spurs going out and giving it a really good go. I mean, you know, Ange is going to do that. He always does that. But I do back our chances. I think that Van der Ven and Solanke will be fit. I'm obviously hoping they will be fit as well.
Home advantage going to make any difference?
Who, Van der Ven?
No, just home advantage.
I think it's going to be a big difference, yeah. I mean, obviously, I say that was the last two fixtures we have lost at our stadium in this game, but I think the stadium's going to be right behind Ange and the team. Obviously, I think we might sense blood as well, obviously, as again, mentioning the injuries. So, yeah, I think the home advantage will play a part, and I'd back us to get something.
OK, and you talked about Sterling before, Cecil. I mean, does he have a place in the starting 11 for you? Might we see that on Sunday?
I think Arsenal fans might think I'm crazy, but I think he will. Honestly, I think he should start, in my opinion. I think the pacing behind, we know how Ange likes to play. Like I said, the high line, they like to dominate possession. If we can catch them on the counter, which we actually saw in the last fixture, when Saka got the ball played through to him from Havertz, like we've seen that happen before. I think Sterling on one side, Saka on the other side. I think that pacing behind can catch them out. I would like him to start.
Yeah.
It's a big, you know, it's a big opportunity for Sterling to. He came in when he arrived, when he signed for Arsenal. He said he's got, you know, he wants to keep the talkers quiet, and he has a point to prove.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to show them that he's the best that he's been. He wants to show that. So, no better way to do that than against, you know, our rivals come Sunday. So I'd like to see him start.
He's got bags of ability. Do you hope he's not playing Sterling in a way?
Yeah, I think he is a sort of player that could cause us some sort of damage. Again, it's that high line. I think, you know, Sterling's pacing behind. I think that really could wreak havoc. I mean, we saw in the Newcastle game, it was almost one ball through the lines, and you know, it just caused us chaos. And so, I think a player like Sterling could definitely hurt us on the weekend.
OK, very quickly, let's get out your predictions. Score prediction, and I've got one more thing to do this. So score predictions,
Score prediction, it's screaming draw because of the injuries, but I'm going to say 3-2 to Arsenal.
Another 3-2?
Yeah, 3-2 for like last season, but a little bit more control, hopefully, from Arsenal.
OK, Jamie, what do you reckon?
I'm going to back Spurs. I'm going to go for a 3-2 win in our favour this time. I think it's going to be a game, lots of goals.
Jamie, do you believe it? Do you believe 3-2?
100%. Ange football, he's going to produce lots of goals. We're going to take full advantage of it.
Well, if you're a neutral, you watch it at home, we've got 3-2 covered here, so it's going to be an entertaining game regardless.